what another fantastic opportunity experience it was to be able to serve in Boise. I think everybody's saying that, and I think I speak for all of us when I say it is humbling, and what a great honor. Having said that, of course, we go there to try to accomplish good things for us. And accomplishments does not always mean that bills are passed. Sometimes bills are amended. You look at all the bills that come forward and we think, oh my goodness, if you look at that in terms of how many laws each year being passed, it would be scary, because it means our freedoms would just be vanishing like that with all the bills and regulations. But that's not exactly what's happening. As you get there, you find out that things are being amended, and things are being changed, things are being amended because we find that things aren't working and we find a better way to do it. I serve on the Education Committee, Judiciary, Rules, Environment, Energy, and Technology. And boy, I'll tell you, for 3 committees, those were three pretty heavy committees. The Education Committee is one of the morning committees, one of the main committees. But I'll tell you, the Judiciary and Rules, that committee, you could almost make an argument for to be a morning committee. That is a heavy committee. And as Representative Zollinger said, many heavy things came before us, including the mandatory minimums. And to sit there for a second year in a row and hear the stories of those who've experienced it, what they would call, and certainly what I believe would be manifest injustices, is just painstakingly hard to hear. And I have a number of us served on that committee. We had Representative Ricks and Representative Marshall and Representative Zollinger and I. And so we hope that going forward, one of the things I think all of us would agree that in that particular committee, we need to see some reforms. The one thing that I will say right here, right now, that absolutely should not be happening is Idaho should not be sending our prisoners to Texas to have Texas take care of them, because these are not the people that we're looking at the worst of the bunch. These are the best of the prisoners we have that are on the verge of being released, that are the good guys that are being ripped from the confines of their support system and their families, and we need to do something about that. And that is why I will continue to support Representative Zollinger and this mandatory minimum. And I think if you agree, may please show by yes, exactly. Come on, it's an important bill. Now, moving forward, we didn't get things done like we wanted to with the funding formula. This is important. And I'll tell you what, I cannot express enough how much I appreciated Representative Corman's support and help as we tried to understand this. We had enough people on our Education Committee in the House that I think really made some strong statements as to what we were going to do and what we weren't going to do in trying to move forward with that. And I'm very pleased with that. Now, I will say something about education. As we sat with all of these presentations that would come forward, and I said it last year and I'll say it again, education is very convoluted, what should we say, department. It's not a department, with everyone all the agencies that work over there. And I said 3 times when we saw all of these education people sitting there, I said, I want a flow chart. I want to know who's in charge. I want to know how you interact with each other. I want to know when you bring us a bill that you want us to spend all this money on, in regards to the rural schools and getting more help for rural teachers, what's already working? What are the rural programs we already have? What are the programs we already have for charter schools? Nobody can answer that. And as I said it 3 different times, the governor's right-hand man, Greg Wilson, came to me in the hall to talk with me, and he said, Barbara, well, actually they call us representatives, sorry. Representative Ehardt, the governor wants you to know that he has heard you, and we're going to get this sorted out. Because we have all this money being spent on education, and we're still trying to see what differences we make. And then we have a situation where with the state school board, we're being asked to spend $108,000 more on an administrative position, one of which I stood up on the floor and spoke against, because here we're in this situation where we're trying to look for money for the teachers, and we can find $108,000 for another administrative position. We can't find very much money for the teachers. I thought that was wrong. Also, one of the things which Representative Horman and I think stood strongly with, and including on the floor, and it started right here in Idaho Falls, and it was the ICAP, the Internet Crimes Against Children. It was brought to our attention with Chief Johnson and Mayor Casper of the problems that are happening, and how the Internet Crime Against Children officers are centered up north, they're centered, of course, in Boise, imagine that. And we were lacking what we needed here for these crimes that are absolutely systematically happening right here in our community against the kids. And with Representative Corman's help, and I like to think with my help on the floor, when the Attorney General's budget was going to be killed, was able to stand up and speak strongly, because that's where this would be in place, to say we needed to pass this because we need this in Idaho Falls. We need to have another officer right here helping with internet crimes against children, and that was a good one. I already see, gosh, I've already spoken now for 5 minutes. I need to hit real quick. Well, Brittany did say she'd give me her time, but she took it. No. So, real quickly then, another one that I passed, I started working on this last year, it was a resolution, and most of the time you think resolutions are just feel good. This resolution was about hydropower, and it was more than just feel good, because we had with that the Idaho Falls Power, Idaho Power, Vista Power, Rocky Mountain Power, ICUA, the Farm Bureau, all speaking on behalf of this, because what we're hoping will happen as we move forward and we look at our lower 4 dams and we look at what's going to happen with our power, that we recognize our power, our hydropower, as clean, reliable, and renewable. It's not being recognized that nationally, and we know that our power, our hydropower, is a huge resource, an economic resource, and that was a big pass that everybody was on board with, and it should help us in the future. I also was able to pass Bill 139, which has to do with freedom of speech, and so as to protect us from foreign defamation judgments. And I stood strongly and started working on it as soon as the session ended last year with House Bill 100. House Bill 100 had to do with administrative rules. You've heard some of that. I won't go into great detail, because you probably want me to let you know that I am going to be bringing back House Bill 120, which has to do with sex education, of which so many people seem to not get the whole picture. With the literature that's coming into our schools, with the education that has kids role-playing and doing things that I think even you as adults would be absolutely embarrassed to do. This needs to come forward. I will be bringing it back. Thank you very much for coming. I'm sure you're going to have other questions of which we didn't touch upon, but at this point I will turn it over